What's going on, guys? So I recently reviewed Armani Code Eau de Parfum, last year's release, and I finally got a decant of Armani Code Parfum to spend a bit more time with. And my thoughts on this one may surprise a lot of you considering my love for Iris, but I want to dive into this one a bit deeper with you guys. And first and foremost, I want to give a special shout out to myluxuryscent.com for providing the decant as well as other products made with the authentic fragrance. We have the shampoo, body wash, and body oil as well, which I haven't dove into just yet, but I have gotten products from them before, and I gotta say, it's an interesting layering combo. But we're gonna talk about what I get from Armani Code Parfum here in this rather large decant that I have that I've been spraying from. So let's talk about it. Stay tuned. So while not the same note breakdown as the Eau de Parfum, in its most simple form, it smells like the EDP plus Iris. I've been spraying it on my hand literally every night and going to bed with it for the last 4 nights. It hasn't compelled me to want to just spray myself down because, as weird as this may sound to you guys, considering my love for Iris, I kind of like the EDP more. Believe it or not, I'm so glad I have a decant and didn't buy a bottle. I'm not saying I wouldn't wear it and I won't wear it and I won't get a bottle in the future. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is the EDP is so new to my collection, and myself and especially my wife have enjoyed it so much, and that she actually prefers the EDP as well, that I don't know if I'm going to grab a bottle of this. I know there's a lot of people raving. A lot of you have reached out to me in the comments saying, I would love this, that this is the ultimate version of Code, and for some of you it may be. And I really do like that. The rating will reflect that I do really like this fragrance. I just don't see myself wanting to reach for it over other Iris fragrances that I have, especially my recent pickup that my buddy Dave sent to me of Bleu Noir Parfum from Narciso Rodriguez. So in the top, I do get some freshness, not a distinctive citrus. I know there's a lot of bergamot in the top, and it's not a real heavily juiced, bitter type of bergamot smell. Just this, light, airy, almost watery like freshness, just light in the backdrop. And the Iris does stand out. You get it from start to finish. It's creamy and buttery and powdery the whole way through. Not a waxy, lipsticky type of Iris. Don't think Dior Homme. Think more along the lines of Prada L'Homme's Iris in some ways, but not quite as soapy. But it has that level of creamy, buttery, powderiness to it. Like I said, it is a very beautiful smell. There's a little bit of spice to it, but not as much fresh spice as I get in the Eau de Parfum. And then as it starts to settle, it does have a nice woody feel to it. And then the signature tonka bean that it's known for is still here. That beautiful vanillic tonka bean absolute sweetness that's very distinctive to the Armani Code DNA. Like I said, it is a beautiful smell. And if I didn't have the Eau de Parfum, if I didn't have a bottle of that, this would probably be the one to go with for me. But because I have the Eau de Parfum and I find them, one note away from redundancy pretty much, I don't think I'm going to be grabbing this because I feel like I'll have too close of a similar fragrance in 2 bottles of it. And I'll come down to the conundrum of which to wear, and I'll feel obligated to wear the Iris because I love the Iris, when in reality I like the EDP more that's lacking Iris. I know this might be a strange assessment for a lot of you, especially a lot of you that understand my taste, my love for Iris, and watch me on a regular basis. This may be surprising for you guys to hear, but it's the truth. It's how I really feel. It smells fantastic. It's that much more powdery. I feel like this is what Absolute could have been if it wasn't so cloyingly vanilla tonka bean heavy, because vanilla and tonka bean's in most of the flankers. But it was just a little too much. It became cloying, and like, this is the powdery tone that Absolute could have been, where you still get that sweetness, you still get the powdery tone, but it's more floral powdery than just super sweet vanilla tonka bean powder. There is a difference. This one is much smoother overall, but again, if you don't like powdery, you won't like this because it is a powdery bomb type of fragrance. It's very powdery, does lean feminine because of the heavy dose of Iris. I can see a lot of ladies enjoying this men's version of Armani Code as well, because they do have women's versions of Armani Code, but I deem this perfectly unisex because it's so floral and powdery. I mean, it smells great, but I deem it, like I said, one note basically. Even though the note breakdowns aren't identical, minus one note, I feel like it's too redundant to the Eau de Parfum for me personally. Now, in regards to performance, it is louder than most parfum flankers out there in the designer market. I have to say, it's bright and it really gets out in the air. Projections on the heavier side for the first 2 hours, and then the sillage is on that moderate to mild side. It does calm down quite a bit from the heavy projection. You get moderate to heavy projection you get early on into a more moderate to mild sillage. Like, it does weaken a bit as it gets close to the skin, as it dries down more and more. The longevity is still fantastic on this. I've been getting in the 8 to 10 hour range, more so in the 10 hour range. I'm sure some people get even in the 12-hour range on this, because I could see this working really well depending on your skin chemistry. But the safe range for me has been 8 to 10 hours. Like I said, more so towards the 10-hour mark before, it fades away into a faint skin scent, or I've washed my hands enough to where it's gone at that point. So performance on this one is well above average. I wouldn't completely call it a beast. Early on in its lifespan, the very first hour to 2 hours, it's pretty beastly. It's a pretty stout fragrance, especially if you're moderate to heavy sprayer type. But if you're on the lighter side of sprays, it'll still make a statement without overwhelming anyone, including yourself. So performance on this one, no issues whatsoever. Final thoughts and rating on Armani Code Parfum from Giorgio Armani. I do think it's fantastic. I do, believe it or not, like the EDP just a little bit more. Because this is basically the EDP plus Iris is what it smells like. It comes down to being that simple. If you know the EDP, you'll know this fragrance. If you have the EDP, like I said, not completely redundant because this is Iris heavy, but it literally smells like they added Iris to the Eau de Parfum. And I'm not knocking them for it. And if you don't have the Eau de Parfum, this can be the superior version. I would say, if I didn't have a bottle of the EDP, like I stated earlier, this would be the one I would want to get a bottle of. But because I have the EDP, I don't know if or when I'll ever get a bottle. I may never go through this decant. But in spite of all of that, I do think it's a great fragrance, and I think it's an 8 out of 10. It is a great fragrance. There's no two ways about it. It's just too redundant for a recent acquisition in its own line for me. So once again, I'd like to thank MyLuxuryScent.com for sending this my way, giving me the opportunity to experience this, because they may have saved me a few dollars this way. Because if I wanted this type of scent profile, I think I would go with Le Male Le Parfum, where it has some similarities, but Le Male Le Parfum is a superior fragrance to this when it comes to designer level Iris. I do believe they fall into the same family, but Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Male Le Parfum, in my opinion, is superior to Armani Code Parfum. And again, make sure to check out the layering combos with shampoo, conditioner, body oils. They have laundry detergent. There's a lot of different options to layer your favorite scent. They have niche, they have designer. Definitely check them out. They do guarantee authenticity with all of their stuff. It's right there on the front page of the website. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. So I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. Were you surprised by my assessment on this one? I didn't knock it. I do think it's a great fragrance. It's just too redundant. It's too redundant to the Eau de Parfum for me. I need to be, with the level of, massive collection I have at this point, I need to be a bit more selective than I've been in the past. So that's why sampling's so much more important to me now than it used to be, just as I would encourage you to sample first to avoid running into issues where I just find that it would have been too redundant to have bottles of each of these. Unless you're collecting the line and you're just a huge fan of the Armani Code DNA, then by all means, having both of them is not that big of a deal. Because, you're looking at a guy who gets multiple concentrations of the same fragrance. I've done it with Bleu de Chanel. I've done it with Dior Sauvage, Eau Sauvage, and so on and so on and so on. But with all that said, until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on Armani Code Parfum and you give it a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.